Amazing. Thanks so much, Simon. And everybody, thanks for joining us today. With me today is Zamir. Um, we thought what we want to kind of run through is, as Simon said, Amazon business and how to get going and really kind of create some success there. But before we do, we thought we'd just quickly give you a little bit of background on us, where Simon's given a kind of intro to us, but we thought would run through a little bit about us. So over to you, Zamir.
Hi, yeah. So I founded a company called Arbitrage back in 2012, and I grew that fairly rapidly on Amazon. But before I actually founded Arbitrage, the way I actually started it is without any capital at all. I started using Arbitrage. So that was the sort of like the very beginning for me and how I first initially approached it. And it was a success from that then I kind of reinvested back in, and that's how I got to launch Tech on Amazon. That then allowed me to hire more team and grow the business further beyond that. That was kind of like the route that I wanted to take on it. We're going to talk through a few different routes and ways of approaching it. It was my personal approach on that. I also managed to do a successful raise on Seedrs, which is an equity crowdfunding site, and that then allowed me to cash flow the growth of the business into the US and Europe, which is where it really took off. And that international expansion. So that's very much my background and my story. That's how I started it. I also got picked up fairly then from that success. So people kind of picked up on that in the media, and that also then helped to kind of push the growth of the business even further. Al, over to you.
Amazing. So, guys, I started Coconut Merchant. I have a company called Coconut Merchant. We have the world's largest range of coconut products. And we started in 2014, and we use Amazon as our means to get going and to get retail listings. From there, we got to our number one in our category in about 8 months. And from there, we got Planet Organic, Holland Barrett, Ocado, Sainsbury's, Tesco, as then all the major retailers. And in doing that, we kind of grew internationally as well. We now do about 7 million a year as a business, but all started with the humble beginnings of a couple listings on Amazon. And in doing that, Zamir and I got good at selling on Amazon, got picked up by the Amazon PR team. There's a couple stories from us in the Financial Times and Business Insider and a few other places. And in doing that, I was asked to join some Amazon speaking sessions to speak for them and do some teaching for them. And that's actually where I met Zamir. And that's Zamir and I at our first panel together. You got Zamir there, and that's me just sitting next to him with slightly less facial hair. And from there, things kind of grew.
Yeah, so once we got picked up by the PR team, we kind of got asked to tell our story, and we got asked to tell it to sellers, we got asked to tell it to consumers and to journalists. We got to make a whole load of cool videos, one of the ones running in the background. And having told our stories, sort of like repeatedly telling those, we also got in that process to meet other sellers, and we got to see other ways of using Amazon. It was amazing to us. There was such a variety of ways to actually sell into Amazon. It kind of expanded our view of that. And that was kind of crucial to our understanding that would come along future to where and what we are doing now, which is able to sort of like look at personal circumstances and go, right, okay, these are the best routes. You know, this is the way you can kind of like make the most of Amazon. This is me visiting a fulfillment center in Hemel Hempstead, looking at one of our Bluetooth speakers there. Myself and Al also, because we're doing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, we got to meet a lot of the team behind it, all the Amazon people, and understand how their strategies were developing and what they were looking to do. We now work and sit on a number of boards that and panels that Amazon uses to understand what they can do better for sellers and how to kind of improve their processes to work better with it. One of the guys in one of those things actually now runs what, about 150 million pound a year business, I think it is, on Amazon. So I mean, just to give you an idea of sort of like the scale you can take it to, the growth is phenomenal, and there's a huge number of opportunities there. And I know they're talked about, well, sometimes they're talked about, but it is real people, real businesses, and a lot of them are really small businesses, small individuals. It's amazing how many small people people who are doing it as a side hustle, or people who have started the brand from nowhere, and it's given them this completely new, I guess really it's that lifestyle. You want to be able to run that business from anywhere in the world, and the number of those people that we've met now that are able to do that. To be fair, I'm at home at the moment in London. Al's in Hungary at the moment. He's on holiday. He's still working, but he's away at the moment. So just to give you an idea of the fact that we aren't just saying this, we're living it. It is real, and you really can do it, and that Amazon really is an opportunity that you can take and then utilize to give yourself leverage that lifestyle that you're looking for. So moving on, I think one of the key things to understand, and this is really crucial, if you look at this graph, and it's a really interesting one, this shows online versus offline sales in the UK, and you can kind of see everyone knew that online was doing well. It was kind of moving upwards up until pre-pandemic times. You can see that trend was a fairly significant trend until COVID hit. Suddenly this huge spike makes it look like nothing. But what's really important here, so isn't that short, sharp sort of like increase that happened over the lockdowns, it's where it's kind of left us since then. Those are the bits that are really important to understand in terms of what the opportunity actually is. If you actually trended that initial line pre-pandemic, we wouldn't have hit the stage, the position where we are now for another 10 years. And it's this gap that hasn't actually been filled. So ignore that first initial shock spike. That's really not the important story here. The important story is kind of like where that market is now, 10 years further on, in an area that online sort of like grown rapidly. And now we're sat here with this opportunity that's kind of like not being fully fulfilled. It can't be, because there just hasn't been enough time. And so there is a real opportunity for people to take advantage of. That's online in general. Now, when it comes to Amazon, globally speaking, 63% of all product search now starts on Amazon. So Amazon's pretty much, when it comes to product, the biggest search engine in the world, bigger than Google. And when we break those figures down, what we realize, 63% globally. Now, for Prime customers, it's 85% is where they start. And there are a huge number of Prime customers. But the bit that really interests us here now in the UK is that 81% of UK online consumers start their search journey on Amazon. So that trade-up is, should I have a website or should I start on Amazon? You know, ideally you do both, but really speaking, you know, if you had to choose one of them, I know which one I would choose. So I'm going to hand over to Al. Do you want to run through sort of like the, I was going to say, cheesy story. So yeah, over to you,
Al. So guys, Zamir and I, as we've been growing, people would ask us for help, but we're too busy. But then we met these two guys, Craig and David, and they kind of like, when I first heard the names, I was like, you mean Craig David? But no, it was Craig and David, who basically they used to pack their products in their office themselves in these really simple bags you can just see on the left there. And then they kind of grew. They started off with 0 sales, but then pretty quickly we got them to 20K a month. And then that grew. That enabled them to get some staff and expand out further. They started to get retail listings. Within 18 months, we had them at 120K per month. So if you scale that on selling these little cheese puff packs, and you can see here, this is their sales figures. You can see it just trending right up, which is really exciting. And then Cheesies was the first brand. Within no time, we were helping over 80 brands. Yeah, and there we go. And what that kind of confirmed to us is, yes, we've got some processes and we've got some methods and our methodology, but we can grab that from our own businesses and apply that to other brands and other companies, and it still works and it still leads to success, which is really exciting. And so we are now responsible for over 45 million in Amazon sales. That's over 3 million orders in over 10 countries with over 80 brands. And of those 80 brands, over 20 of them have grown to over £1 million a year, which is phenomenal. Which is, 1 in 4 brands are gonna crack that million a year. And a simple example of that is Mark and Shelley. So Mark and Shelley run a little brand called Bang Curry, which is these kind of this scratch curry kit. But you can see here, you know, they were kind of trading solo for a while, but then they joined us, and you can see here, this is their sales in Q4 last year, just shooting up over 50K a month in sales, which is exceptional growth. And the thing is, we often it can, as you're learning to grow a business, it can seem quite lonely and quite isolated. Zamir and I spent hours individually on Amazon seller support, on different forums, and trying to collect information, pull our skills together, and create a process and a methodology that would work day in and day out, and would essentially kind of make things a lot simpler. And often when you're kind of going through this, it can seem really complex. People kind of talk about 200 models, 250 modules that you have to learn to get somewhere. But the truth is, you don't need that much information. What you really need is something really simple, a simple pathway to kind of get to the goal, and someone to just map that out for you. So you go, great, this is what I need to do, and this is how I can get there. And there's generally three types of businesses that we help. There's and you might kind of some of these might resonate with you. You might kind of relate with some of these. So there's the person who has the side hustle, there's the brand builder, and there's the brand seller. And I'm going to quickly just talk through these very briefly. Firstly, the side hustle. This is kind of someone who's generally quite happy with their existing role, and they're happy with what they're doing, but they kind of want a bit of extra income, a little bit on the side, just to kind of this is that it's a chance for them to express their creativity. Maybe they've got some entrepreneurial spirit they want to express. And it's a kind of chance to maybe build another profession if they want to, but ultimately it's about freedom, because the money that they generate gives them some freedom. And that's super exciting for a lot of people. Here's a little example of this, and it's one of the brands that we've helped. Susan, she kind of started a kind of sanitation, or like a home sanitizer company with her brother Barry. Pretty quickly, we got them to 30K a month. So they joined us in August. By December, they're on 30K a month. She's able to run her business remotely. So she flew off to Australia. Her daughter had her first grandchild. So Susan flew off to Australia. She was there in January through February. She came back just a couple of weeks ago, and she ran the business from there. Simple and really straightforward. Great little kind of side hustle business. The next is the brand builder, and these are generally people who want to actually just take a dive and create a whole new profession. They take a jump, and they want to create something that they can be really proud of. And it's generally a lifestyle business for them. So they want to create a company or a business that will help them build a lifestyle that they're really comfortable with. It enables them to travel, be mobile, and explore the world, or just spend more time with their family if that's what they want to do, while running their own company. It also allows them to leave a mark in a space that they're passionate about or they're interested in. And here's a simple example of that is Nirali and Jagia. They're a husband and wife team who when we first met them, had just had a daughter. They set up a business which was a health snacks company. We helped them evolve their product range into something into an area that we saw as a massive growth area. And they launched the product in October. And by November, December, they'd done over 50K in sales. Then most recently, they went to Australia as well. Jagger grew up in Australia, so he went and they decided they want to run the company from there for a month or so. So they flew out there, saw his family, and then came back, went to a trade show, won Best Snacking Award at IFE, and now they're looking at retail listings. And this is all just because they set up a company on Amazon. The final one is what we call the brand seller. And the brand seller is a little bit different to the previous two. They want to do more than just kind of create income. They want to really create wealth. These are people who will grow a business and sell it, and then maybe repeat the process. They might even do 2 or 3 brands at once. Once you kind of learn the momentum, you learn the theory behind it, you can kind of scale it and apply it multiple times over. And And a little example of this is a brand called Snaffling Pig, which you may have heard of. It was started by Nick and Udi. You may have seen them if you're based in the UK. You may have seen their products in Sainsbury's and Tesco. They do these really cool pork crackling products, and a nice little range that sits with it. These are their sales. Most recently, you can see they sold out. So and their products fit really well with Father's Day. So they sold out just after that, and then they shot right back up once they got stock back in. And they're on track to doing well over 500,000 a year. And then in the next little bit, you'll see them actually a few weeks ago. You may have seen them on Dragon's Den, looking for investment as well. So their company is growing massively fast. And I'm pretty excited for them. I think it's really cool seeing them expand and grow. And with a lot of these, you may have kind of picked up a consistent theme, which is the sense of freedom. And that's really what this Amazon business enables you to do. It really gives you a sense of freedom where you can kind of move around and be mobile and really have time to do the other passions that you might have. And so Lavinia is a nice little example of this. She started an Italian confectionery company with a little store in Kensington in London. And she started because to quit and escape her city job. But she used Amazon as a means to grow beyond just the Kensington store. And last year she moved to Paris with her family because that's something she really wanted to do. And so she's been able to kind of break free of just that store and has moved well beyond that to a kind of more global audience. But not everything is just about the money and the freedom as well. I mean, my own personal motivation, if I can be a little bit humble on this, is I used to work for the UN, and my whole motivation in creating Coconut Merchant was to help farmers because I wasn't able to do enough to help them at the UN. And so that's what Coconut Merchants enabled me to do. So since we started, we've given over £2 million directly to farmers around the world. And that's really what kind of motivates me and drives me in everything that we've been doing with that. And again, all through just starting an Amazon business.
So what we'd like to do now is kind of like, having explained our background and everything, is really show you what Amazon is and kind of demystify it and give you a really kind of like concise, clear understanding of how or where the opportunities lie. And how to take advantage of some of those. So we're going to take a walk through. We're going to cover 3 key things. And the first one of those is the zero capital launch that we mentioned at the beginning. How do you start with no capital? The second thing is going to be looking at Amazon itself, how it's structured, and to kind of walk you through that, because it's really important to understand Amazon's structure. And once you kind of get a fundamental understanding of that, you start to learn where how to take advantage of, how to get it to play to your strength, or you play to its strengths, whichever way you want to look at it. And then finally, we're going to run through some of our methodology, sort of like our insight, what makes you successful now, and what are the keys to achieving that success. So first one, the myth: you need startup capital. Well, I'm the prime example who says you don't need it. When I started, the way I started was simple. I had an app on the phone. I would go and have a look at the price of products on Amazon. Then I would go down to local stores looking for things in sort of like the bargain bucket areas. I'd go to Costco. I'd look out for special offers. And a lot of people say to you, they'll buy things up cheaply, take them back, list them and so on. I didn't even do that, right? I just took pictures of what the deals were. I went back, created the listings. I waited for the orders to come in. And when the orders came in, I would go then and buy the items and then sell them and dispatch them through. That's how I actually started it. And then as I got better at that, I started to understand, okay, fine. So I see what's working. And I was starting looking for even better prices on the key areas, the key products that I knew were going to move. And that kind of built my confidence. And that's fundamentally where I then got the confidence to sort of like start putting cash behind Iqualtech and building a consumer electronics brand that then went on to do, millions. Now, arbitrage opportunities exist still today. Those ones exist. But if I was approaching it today, knowing everything I know now, I would do it slightly differently. So I would think big. And when I say big, I mean, no, really big, okay? So where the real opportunities lie to make a lot of money is on really big ticket items. The thing with the smaller ticket items is people want them very instantaneously. The bigger ticket items, people are prepared to wait a little bit longer. So it isn't unusual to see on certain things that devices, you know, talking about things where you might be spending somewhere between £3,000 and £10,000 in that region. So examples are sort of like large universal supply services, so huge battery-based things, ride-on lawnmowers and fountains, these kind of ornamental stuff. Those are the sort of things that are listed on Amazon. I'm not going to say they're selling huge volumes, but they don't need to. Ultimately, if you've got a list of really big ticket items on there, you sell 1 or 2 items a day that average somewhere between 2 and 10,000. That's giving you very quickly £100,000, maybe even £200,000 a month. And on those, you don't need to make huge margins. 5–10% is quite nice, especially when you consider this doesn't take time. You can sit there, do research for a little bit of time, put your listings on, and then wait for those orders to come through. And then it's simply a matter of, before you obviously put those in, is knowing where you're going to get them from, and then making sure that the supplier drop ships it to the customer within the time frame that you've agreed to do it. And those are all things that can be negotiated and learn how to actually do that. So it's finding those big ticket items, those opportunities. But fundamentally, with arbitrage, this is a really strong model. I'm not saying that the small items don't work. You can absolutely do it. But I think if I was telling my younger self back then, I would definitely think bigger. Right, so we're going to come back to that. We're going to talk about how you find those items in it. But first of all, I want to go into this bit here, which is really just to explain how Amazon is made up, because I think it's really important. Amazon is actually 2 businesses. You've got Amazon Marketplace and you've got Amazon Retail. Retail is a section of Amazon that everyone probably is quite familiar with it and more expects to be happening, which is where you're buying products directly from Amazon. And Amazon Retail essentially buy wholesale, they own the stock and they sell it on Amazon. But with Marketplace, what Amazon created was an opportunity for third-party sellers, people like us, to go and list our items and put them there next to Amazon's own items and compete with them directly on the page. And this is where the opportunity really lies. Now, just under 60% of sales on Amazon actually take place from Marketplace sellers, not Amazon Retail, and it's growing. And Amazon's quite happy for this. So this works for them. They don't mind which side of it is, and the Marketplace part is really growing. So Amazon Marketplace is where the opportunity really lies in which to grow your online Amazon business. And if we have a look at them, that Marketplace section, that's made up of 2 parts. One of it's fulfilled by merchant and the other one is fulfilled by Amazon. And understanding this again is really crucial. Some products perform extremely well with the Prime badge, require Amazon FBA. Others work really well with FBM, where you're fulfilling it. Now, if you're doing arbitrage on those large items, then you really want to be in a market that is focused on FBM, i.e. not next day delivery. And there are certain products, as I said, some really big ticket items, big bulky stuff that people don't expect to be delivered tomorrow. And that's where you can really leverage that 0 capital startup. On FBA, it's more aligned to you effectively grabbing your stock from a wholesaler or manufacturer and then sending it into Amazon to handle the fulfillment. This is also really important to understand, because what you're getting is a Prime badge and you're getting same day and next day delivery on all of your products across the UK, across Europe and across the US if you want to go there. And Amazon is guaranteeing to the customers that they're going to get these products. You can run this business from anywhere on either of these models, because it's either the supplier that's drop shipping it for you, or it's Amazon that's handling delivery. You're not having to spend your time picking and packing items or storing them or any of that side of it. So I think it's really fundamental to understand that's how you kind of have this, you're sat there, you're running this business from a computer, you're not in a massive storeroom. You don't need all this huge overhead to sort of weigh you down. So over time, what we've done is we've created a methodology. As I said, we've worked with over 80 brands and we've really kind of rehearsed it and worked into all of these different categories. And so we've got a really clear understanding now, depending on what your requirements are, where you want to go with it, and what the product is, how you grow it. And we take on competitors in a multitude of categories every day. We're constantly doing it and we're winning those categories. So I'll give you some insight into how we achieve it and kind of like the fundamentals. So the first thing is obviously is to source the right product and understand demand. So that is a really crucial part, and it's doing your research. Research is crucial. Understand where the demand is, what people are looking for. It doesn't have to be huge demand, because you then tie that understanding of demand with understanding the market. You can have a low demand item, it's high ticket price with poor, very little competition. That's ideal. That will work really well. Equally, if you've got a really high demand item with huge amounts of competition, you want to stay away from that. So it's really understanding where the opportunities lie, how to analyze that. We're going to go into some of that in a bit more detail in a bit. And then once you've got that, it's really then about getting the core principles together, understanding the commercials, understanding how to utilize trademarks. Just because you're selling someone else's essentially blank product, if you're personal supplier, you can go and use their trademark, or you can create your own, and there are opportunities in there. Again, we'll talk through some of that briefly, but in essence, these are all really important things for the next stage that we get into, and making your product more unique. The biggest misconception about Amazon is that it's known as the biggest retailer in the world, but it's not a retail company. So the core of Amazon is actually a tech company, and data lies behind every decision it makes. And so this is where I talked about the fact that you can then utilize it, understand how to play your strengths and Amazon's strengths together. Because once you understand that everything's kind of run by data, you realize how you can influence and motivate Amazon and get them to take and pay more attention to you, to send more traffic and consumers and customers to you. Fundamentally, Amazon's also quite an open company. It shares a huge amount of this data. You just need to know where to look. And like with anything, data is data. You want to turn it into information. And so that's very much about building tools that allow you to take large amounts of data and turn it into really useful strategic information that then you put into tactics in order to grow your brand. Now, we're going to show you something that we developed internally. There are a lot of third-party software tools that we do use that are available more widely, but we also create some of our own, and this is one of them. So one of the key things a lot of people keep ignoring, reviews are extremely influential on Amazon. I think if any of you buy on Amazon, you'll agree on this. But they're also an enormous source of understanding market information. So they will tell you what customers are thinking in a market or on a product. Here's an example where we're looking down at a product. We're looking at all the reviews. We can look at it on a real macro level, a high level on this one product, or we can filter it down and say, okay, let's just look at, say, the 1 and 2 star reviews. Let's see what the sentiment is around that, and what's not quite working maybe for these products. And we can dig down to detail. We can go through and actually look at it on an individual review basis. But we can also take it the other way. We can go into a really macro view on it as well. So instead of just looking at one product, we can look at a range of products. And then we can conduct the sentimental analysis on a range of products, on a range of countries. And so we can look at an entire category and understand where the opportunities align, what the products are not quite meeting the requirement. And then we can look to see if there's an opportunity there to take advantage of that. So this is one example, one of the tools that we've created to give, and as I say, this data is freely available. It's just a matter of having the tools to really utilize it, and then having, I suppose, the understanding of, once you've got that information, how to use it. So once you've got that understanding, what the product is, how you're going to improve it, all those questions kind of answered, it's then really about working with sourcing to find a product that meets those requirements, fills the niche, fills the gap. And we both travel the world, establishing relationships. We put together a really experienced sourcing team, identified sort of like manufacturers and that other sellers can't reach, and we've negotiated. So we've got a lot of experience in doing this, and recently that's become more valuable because since 2020 we haven't really been able to travel. A lot of these countries are quite locked down, still not able to go to them. So those relationships that we have and that access that we have is even more valuable, because it's actually quite hard to re-establish it. And those are things that then, again, we work with other brands and we give them access to, so that they're able to source products at best quality products at the best prices, and then they're able to compete on Amazon utilizing all of that. Al, do you want me to hand over to you on the stage 2 to run through this bit?
Yeah, so guys, stage 2 of our process is all around getting the listing set up, getting the account ready to go, and then finally moving through to optimizing the listings. And this is something that it's relatively straightforward, but it's really important to kind of get down right. So when you want to create your account, it's important to make sure that you give Amazon all the information it needs just to get the account up and running. There's a process called Amazon Brand Registry. Now, if you look to create a brand, we'd highly recommend getting Amazon Brand Registry, because this enables you to get a suite of tools available to you only if you are a brand. Which is really useful. That includes things like the web stores, which is a website within Amazon's website. Plus, you get those enhanced content sections. So if you've ever been to an Amazon listing, you scroll down and there's some nice pictures at the bottom. That's what you get. And so I'm just going to quickly run you through optimizing a listing. And first one there, you may have seen, is the product title. So when you're optimizing your product titles, you want to pepper in certain keywords that will help boost your product score in the search results. So in doing that, for example, these guys, this is a product that we've just kind of picked. This is not one of the ones that we've created ourselves. But you can see here they've put in whey protein, because someone may search whey protein, someone may search protein powder. So they've also got protein powder there as a combination. They've put in the product size and the flavor, and they've got the brand name. And in this case, it's bulk. So if you are looking to create a product listing with a title, that's a great way to do it. And then next in there is the bullet points. The bullet points are really useful because they will do two things for you. The first thing is they'll also help you with the search results. So they'll help you optimize in the search rankings. So again, you're going to pepper in a few key, also help sell the product. So you want the wording that you're putting in there to kind of pretty much match the SEO requirements, but also to help sell your product. And the same applies with the product descriptions a little bit further down the page. The final bit, and in my opinion, probably the most important, is to have really nice, sexy images in your listings. Your listings will succeed and fall simply just on your product photos, because most people, when they click onto an Amazon listing, will not read everything straight away. They'll click straight through the images and scroll through the images. So your images have to sell the product, even as much as the words themselves. And this has become even more important because recently Amazon has enabled you to flick through the images on the search results page when you're on your desktop. And those are some of the key things. There's actually 12 things we only had time for them, but there's definitely a few more as well, and you can we can run through those at another point. The final thing to do is, once you've optimized your listings, is to send your stock into Amazon, if that's how you fulfill it, and get Amazon to fulfill the orders for you as they come in. And that's one of the cool things that enables you to get that kind of remote lifestyle where orders are coming in, you're making money in your sleep, and Amazon's with the fulfillment for you as you travel and explore the world.
So I know this is going lightning fast. You've sourced your product, you've done your research, you identified your market, identified your product, source it, created your trademark or brand if you're going to do that, create your content, your listing, get your stock over, get it all up and running. And next thing really comes down to marketing. It's all about visibility. I mean, call it marketing like a pro, it's about visibility. Fundamentally, this is really about learning how to set up your campaign so that and just to talk through how Amazon works on this, you get organic positions in Amazon, but you also can pay for visibility. And what our focus and our approach on this is that you utilize the advertising to push the organic listing up further. So you're not trying to get more and more sales and in the future long term from advertising. You're really trying to get them from the organic side. It's very different from Google, where sort of like your PPC and your SEO are completely separate and they don't influence one another. In Amazon, they completely do. So we sort of like understand this relationship and how you can then use the marketing to give you visibility at the beginning when you're starting up, or maybe whenever you're aggressively going for growth, and then you utilize that to push up your organic listing, and then that takes over. But in order to make the most of this, again, you also look at optimizing your bidding strategy and sort of like improving overall how you approach this. All the most successful sellers, they don't bid manually. So they use AI to sort of like factor in on that side of it. And that's one of the key areas that we sort of like working on as cool AI tools that kind of, they take all the workload off of you, and they also do it more efficiently. They're sort of like making tens of thousands of bid adjustments a day. So you don't have to, you just sit there and watch the performance of it and look at the metrics. I want to take a quick look at the search results page. This kind of highlights that visibility area I was talking about. When you look at a search results page on Amazon, you can see these first three are all sponsored, and this bit up here has also got this little sponsored thing here. This is your first organic position actually appearing here. It's in the position 4. And so you can see there is an importance there. Organic is important. If we scroll further down this page, you see the next line is all organic. But you can utilize this additional visibility to really get people to see your product, and then that pushes up the organic positioning for you. As you scroll down the page, there are other advertising opportunities. Video is a really useful one. This is one that sort of came on about 18 months ago, and it's quite interesting. On areas, there are certain modules within the advertising, something like video content. Not everyone has video content. Creating it's really straightforward, and get someone on Fiverr to create a video for you really quickly and cheaply. And because there's fewer people actually doing this, there's less competition, and so it costs less to market here. So it's a really visible spot, and it doesn't really cost as much. It often costs less than the sort of like the product ones, and they convert really well, because what they're able to do is kind of communicate a message to the consumer and give them that confidence. So I was talking about photography is really important, because people can't pick it up and turn a product around. Video is even better. It takes it into a completely different dimension. And we're going back to that bulk powder one. We're just showing you on the product details page, there are more advertising opportunities. And again, it's these little advertising ones. Again, everyone's really focused on that search results page, don't necessarily pay attention to these other advertising opportunities. You can pick them up quite cheaply, and they can be very effective if you do them in a targeted manner. So got the product all over, you've launched it, you're growing it. Next thing is really about proper growth. It's accelerate and grow, and it's about taking out the existing competition and rising to the top. That's, we always talk about fighting for a top 5, top 4 position organically. That's what you want to do. And there are a number of tactics you kind of utilize to get you to a top 5 position, and then it's all about holding that position. Your strategy changes, you spend less on advertising, and there's an array of other techniques you can use. You start researching new opportunities, you start to look overseas and develop new products. Those are all part of a sort of like an acceleration and growth phase you can take. This is a quick look at just a standard marketing view on product. This is how it generally works. You introduce it, you grow it, you hit maturity, then you hit decline. We don't like the decline. This is the bit we want to get rid of. Okay, so there are plenty of tools that we now know and that we focus on to effectively remove decline and focus completely on maturity. This is the profitable stage, and you can actually stay and ride in this for a very long time. We do it for years, and that's really where the game is played, is understanding how you utilize Amazon to really sit into this maturity phase where you just take huge amounts of revenue and huge amounts of profitability. Then what you also do is in terms of your advertising campaigns, terminology is defend your brand. It's really about building your brand. Cross-selling, there's huge numbers of opportunities on Amazon to cross-sell, upsell, promote new products, and promote deals. That's really your day-to-day focus, getting you into growth and sticking you in this maturity phase for as long as possible. And you can ride it out. Again, you can target all sorts of things in order to bring new customers in. You don't have to sit in just with the current demographic. Again, that's fairly lazy marketing, and it doesn't require much extra effort to start looking at similar products, complementary products, and looking at category shoppers. All of these tools exist, and again, people just don't use them because it just requires going an extra step. And so we kind of like break down those barriers to show how easy it is actually to do all of these and understand that. And what the beautiful thing about Amazon is it's the same control panel that sits behind all of its marketplaces all across the world. So global expansion for a small business that you're running from a phone half an hour a day, perfectly achievable. There's nothing here that isn't able to be done. You're competing with these huge global companies, that huge overheads as well. And there's so much opportunity you can actually take away from them. It's simply about having the desire to do it, I guess, more than anything. And the knowledge, I guess. The knowledge is the other bit. Finally, I wanted to come to is, as I said, I started very much as not even committing to stock, right? Not even committing to cheap stock. But as you grow that, you start to make revenue, you grow it in you start thinking, okay, maybe I'll move into one of the other areas, and you kind of start growing. It's a personal thing, but I started growing my own brand, and then Amazon have a lending service, so they'll actually come along and finance your growth into other marketplaces. So they'll go, fine, but we'll lend on the basis of your stock. So they literally just secure it against your future stock. They'll lend you the money to then buy in more stock and grow the business further if you want to do it more rapidly. Not something everyone wants to do, it's a choice, but those options are available as well from a growth perspective. Fundamentally, if you want to win on Amazon, you need to win the customer. Always remember the customer. This kind of sits behind the ethos of my Mel's approach and everything. Is that whatever decision you have to make, this is who you really want to pay attention to, is the customer. Always think about things from a customer's perspective. So that's a really huge takeaway that we think is really important and pretty much sits behind fundamentally every decision that we make. I just want to show this as an example of a business that we worked with. This guy came along to us. This is back in 2020, and it was quite interesting because we had gone into lockdown and we'd seen this sort of rise in everyone working from home. And he was like, look, can you help us research and find a product? And we're like, sure, okay. So we worked with him quite extensively, did a whole load of research, whittled it down to sort of like a short list of products, and then took it down into an even shorter list of products. The reason we chose this product, so what we're looking at here isn't the laptop, it's the laptop stand. The reason we chose this were a number of reasons. So there was an obvious spike in people working from home, and because of their posture and everything, they realized they needed to raise. So more people were buying these stands than ever before. However, the fundamentals prior to lockdown were still really strong in this product. And this is really important, because after you've gone through a spike, we knew it was going to be around for a while. We didn't know how long for, but we wanted to create something that was going to continue. And so what we were able to do is find the best-selling product, a high growth category, identify the best-selling versions of it, so that we knew what style we wanted to go for. And then we found the problem. So the biggest problem most people had with this was cable management. So we actually built cable management into this with the supplier. And it was a fairly straightforward thing to do. And once we were able to fix that, what it allowed us to do was to jump into a rapidly growing market with a brand new product that was actually the product that most people desired. And it solved the biggest problem that everyone had with that product. And so the growth on this was phenomenal. So we kind of started in September, and you can say in the first 3 months, we grew this to £1 million business. So he was doing over £1 million business as £83,000 a month. And we hit that in month 3 on this example. And the beautiful thing about it, as I say, is it wasn't simply just around for that period of time. This is an area that has continued to do extremely well. And once you've established yourself as a top 5 seller, it's really easy to sit there. So it's a really powerful story and an opportunity to see sort of like how our approach really works. And it's one that I think we're both really very proud of. The one thing I would say on it, that the one frustration we had, is it took us a lot of time to teach one person. And that was probably the core thing. We love working with entrepreneurs and helping them to build brands. But it's a lot of time and effort to get put in just to help one person to do that one thing. And it's like, okay, right, I want to work for more people, help more people. So that was a key thing. Al, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So why start an Amazon business? So this is, you're here now listening to us, but what's our kind of key takeaway from this? The truth is, you don't need too much time to run an Amazon business. You can do it with about 30 minutes to an hour a day. You don't need much startup capital either, as Mez mentioned. There's definitely ways and approaches around it where you can create a multi-million-dollar business with very little startup capital. You can work from home or any location around the world and don't have to buy lots of stock. And you can scale and grow. As the stats from earlier in the presentation, you can see this is going to be a growing area. It's going to become more and more important as time passes. So why start an Amazon business? All of the above. Essentially, there's a lot of opportunity to be had there. And so we started talking to Simon about this. We asked him, how can we reach more people and help them kind of get the same levels of freedom and the same benefits that we've had from Amazon. And he said to us, why don't you teach? And it makes sense because we've developed a process that clearly works, moves beyond just, and we've taught people with almost little or no experience at all. So we thought, what if we created a course? We could talk about what's in demand. We could teach them around how to find demand, the best places and the cheapest ways of getting products and finding those. We could teach people, how to create listings, sell them on Amazon, how to dominate in those spaces and dominate those categories, and how to do it without much startup capital. And what if the course also help them become the go-to person for a category? And that's pretty much what we've done. We've created something for people to pretty much learn our methodology and apply it to anything that's in their interest. And we kind of created that. We're looking to actually create a course for people who want to create a side hustle, create a brand, or actually create some real wealth and sell some brands. And so we've got this course ready to go. There's space for 20 people today, and we're going to fast track them on how to make some money and potentially million pound businesses using Amazon. The course will start potentially this week or in the coming weeks. It is going to run for 8 weeks without any fluff. We will give you the tools you need to create and scale your business on Amazon, unleash your creativity and your entrepreneurial spirit. It covers four areas which map over onto our same four areas of our methodology, from researching, sourcing, and negotiating to getting your products through to setting up, scaling, marketing, and then accelerating your growth. The first week we're going. Sounds me.
I'll grab it here. The connection's going down slightly, so I'll grab it on this one. What we'll cover first week, we'll cover off sort of like the products that suit your goals, analyzing supply and demand, and identifying competitive advantage, how to get your trademark and everything in place. So that first whole section, using the tools that we've developed. Week 2, we're going to hit into sort of like minimum viable product strategies, how to find suppliers and agree terms. We're going to give access to our suppliers, so that's a key area and takeaway on that one. And how to do sampling, documentation, and shipping and importing, all real key areas, but cover all of those within that session in week 2. In week 3, we kind of like look at getting that set up, creating the listings and shipments, applying for your account, getting your category ungated, something you need to do on Amazon, applying for brand registry, registering for GS1, all the minimum requirement things that you really need to hit and get right. Week 4, it's very much over to that kind of creating the listings, but getting this looking consumer ready and focused. How to create all those A+ content, the store pages, how to do FBA labeling if that's the area you're going to go into, or pallet or carton shipments into UPS. If you're on the zero capital startup model, then it's really about, okay, how to set that relationship up and making sure that those things are going to be drop shipped correctly for those customers, making sure that you kind of head off any potential issues and really focusing on delivering what the customers are going to be expecting. Week 5 is marketing like a pro. This runs over a couple of weeks. So at the beginning, we talk about strategy and visibility, starting reviews, structuring ads and campaign groups for growth. And then we go into sort of like demystifying all the acronyms in week 6. What are the metrics that really matter, the budgets that will be required, and you can start with some really minimal budgets in there. You don't even have to start with advertising. We've got an area there, talk about how to do it without advertising, but then look at how you can accelerate it using advertising and then delivering results. Week 7 is very much about sort of like accelerating that growth. It's like, okay, now time to scale. It's how to use the AI software for marketing so you can really punch up on that side of things, and forecasting and reporting for success. And we go through some of the forecasting and reporting tools. And again, it's really understanding the metrics are going to make a difference. And then we go into some advanced advertising techniques. So the key things that make the difference, that give you that top 5 position. And then in week 6, it's very much about vigilance and understanding how to monitor and how to retain. So now you've got a top 5 position, right? How do you retain it? How do you do tactical marketing? So it's the difference between strategy and tactics, and we utilize those. Why never to fear the competition? Because there's always an opportunity, no matter what they're doing. And really about how to then look to expand. What are your next steps after that? How to read the data and understand what you should be doing next after that. The training actually on this one's now starting on the 28th of May. The 4th of May one is actually closed. That's been fully booked up now. So we've got offers now, I think, opportunities to join on the 28th of May. There are 8 live sessions where we cover the entire methodology on it. You'll be able to create, scale and grow your products, unleashing all that creativity and stuff. And the side hustle, regardless of whether it's the side hustle, the brand, the sellable business, the zero capital markup, or if you've already got a product, those all fit into there. So they covers all of those strategies. And I think it's worthwhile knowing them all, because there's no reason you can't do a hybrid and kind of cover, do 2 or 3 of them at the same time. And really delivering that freedom for you as quickly as possible. As well as that, we're going to throw in 3 months unlimited online support. And we're going to add access to our sourcing specialists. Now, our sourcing specialists are really heavily coveted by us, but we'll give access to them, so they'll help you with that sourcing side of it and finding those quality products at the best prices. So we're going to include access to them. We're also going to include access to our proprietary review analysis software, so you can do that correctly and really quickly and effectively. Our reporting software that we have, that we use internally, it says it's worth £300. We don't actually sell it, so it's that valuable to us, but we'll give you access to that, and we'll continue to allow you to have that in there so that you can actually understand the metrics for your growth. That software, one of our clients used, Monster Piercing, they came along to us and they're sort of like, they've been doing sort of about £300,000 a year for about 2 or 3 years. We plugged them into our software, into our analysis tools, and we immediately were able to impact. This is an example. So we kind of took them from, in the first year, from sort of like between £250,000 and £300,000. So that 277, we delivered in the first year 508. We actually then the following year after that took them to £1 million. We're going to give you access to the AI software that we use. So we'll let you know which software that is, how to use it, how to harness it. It's like anything, it's really knowing how to roll that tool out. So we go through that in sessions. This is Samid and Sarah. They run a company called Bumble out in the US. We plugged them into the AI software, and I mean the results with that and the reporting were phenomenal. So we literally took them through this. These guys, just during this one period here, I mean, this is about 7 or 8 months. We did sort of £3 million. So we kind of doubled their revenue in that first period. It was crazy. Now we're on to sort of like $7+ million a year and they do towels. That's fundamentally their product. They manufacture those generally in Pakistan, and then they sell those in the US and across Europe as well. So you'll get the 8 weeks of training. We're discounting the package now to $695. You get access to the review analysis software, the reporting tools, the AI software, 3 months unlimited online support, access to the sourcing specialists. We're also going to throw in, we internally do a review of categories and data, and we produce a quarterly report. So you're going to get access to that. So we'll give you access to our quarterly report and analysis on trends, breakout trends, products that are doing really well. There's also a program that Amazon runs. There's a lot of programs. We'll give you access. It will tell you what the different programs are, the ones to go for, the ones to stay away from. This is a phenomenal program. It'll actually save you 1/3 on your selling fees in the first year. So that's really useful. And then just to round it all off, for the first 10 people that sign up, me and Al will happily do a one-to-one strategy review session directly included within that. All of that we're going to guarantee if you use our entire method and don't manage, I mean, I don't know how you won't, but if you don't manage to do 20x on your course fees within the first 6 months, then we'll happily give you your money back. Simon, are you around still?
I'm here. I'm here. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. That's great. We've got a summary of everything on the screen right now. As the guys mentioned, just be clear, the 4th of May one is actually full. What they want to do is just work with small groups of people. So that date is now full. So the next opportunity to do this is going to be starting on Wednesday, the 25th. That's what it says. You'll see if you follow the link. It says that on the checkout page, but just so you are completely clear. So what do you get? You get 8 weeks of training with these guys who, let's just recap, they've done 45 million pounds worth of sales on Amazon. Pretty impressive. But I think more importantly, they've, each built their own brands on Amazon, but then they've systemized that, and then they've coached and supported all those other brands that they share with you. So, we love to bring you people at the Internet Business School that are really walking the walk, talking the talk. And these guys have massively done that. You've seen the evidence that they have got a massive track record of, they've even been invited by Amazon to share their success and to do stuff for Amazon publicity as well. So they're the real deal. And of course, Amazon knows their numbers, right? So they wouldn't ask them to do it if this wasn't 100% big numbers they were doing. So you've got 8 weeks of training there. It's going to be weekly on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. One question I can see that's already come in is, what if you can't make one of the sessions? Don't worry, they're all recorded. So if you can't make a live session at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, then you'll be able to catch up on the replay, no worries. But of course, if you are free, it's always better to be there because it's interactive. You get a chance to ask any questions, etc. If you have got any other questions, please send them into the chat box now. And I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A with the guys, but let me just recap on everything that's in there. So over the 8 weeks, they're going to take you through the full life cycle. Week one starts with selecting a product and sourcing a product. So, we spoke earlier about some ways to start this kind of business without any startup capital. A great way to get started, which is how Samir got started, which is just go into the bargain bins at your local Costco, B&Q, whatever, and seeing what's available at big discounts or, what's in the sales, etc., at stores near you. And then you can list those items for sale. And then when you sell one, great, go and buy one, ship it off. You've started without having to hold any stock. But of course, they're also going to cover where you can get products from, the best places to get products from. Now, you don't need to order massive quantities of anything as well. In this day and age, you can order very small quantities. You can even get sample quantities as well. So you can just get a couple of units as samples effectively and actually sell those to test the market. So that's going to be covered. Everything about creating an account and getting your listing done, how you manage getting Amazon to do the fulfillment. Remember, we're recommending that you let Amazon do all the fulfillment here, so you haven't got to muck around with sending stuff out. Amazon will do fulfillment for you. They'll send it out to customers, so that's fab. And then really how to turn the juice up on this business, how to get your listings to the top of Amazon listings, all the smart tips and tricks around titles and descriptions and optimization, the reviews. And really, what are the secrets of getting your product coming out on that first page of Amazon when somebody searches for a particular product type? In the same way that in internet land, you want to come out on the first page of Google when somebody searches for a product, there's similar sort of strategies and techniques that you're going to learn about for getting that same effect on Amazon. And of course, the people that come out at the top of the page on Amazon are the ones that get all of the sales. Now, some other important things to talk about as well. This is great for any kind of business model that you might be interested in. And what I mean by that is, if some people want to do this as an extra secondary income, and the great thing is it doesn't need very much time. You could remember Amazon's doing the fulfillment, so just managing the listings and sourcing products, you could do in 30 minutes a day. So if you just want a secondary income, this is absolutely great. But as you've seen from some of the numbers here, some of these people have launched businesses that become pretty serious businesses in their own right. And if you launch an Amazon business and you get critical mass, you actually got a business there that people are actually buying. So you're actually building an asset that you could sell as well. So whether you want to have an additional income, whether you want to build your own brand, as these guys have done, or whether you want to build something that you can actually exit and sell and retire to the beach, this course is absolutely perfect for all of you. Now, as well as those 8 weeks of training, they are also giving you 3 months unlimited support. So you get access to these guys with 45 million quid worth of sales for 3 months for any help, support, questions, Anything you want to run by them, you know, do you think this is a good product idea? I've done a bit of research. I'm thinking of this, this, and this. Which one do you think is the best? What do you think of my listing? How could I improve it? All those kind of questions. You've got unlimited access to the guys for 3 whole months. But even more so, they've got some fantastic extra bonuses as well. So they've got their own proprietary software, which you are going to get as well. Their own reporting tools, their own review analysis software. So just any one of these things would cost you way more than $695 if you could buy it in the real world, but you can't, because the only way to get this stuff is by doing this training with them. They're also going to give you their quarterly reports on what they've spotted as the big trends, like what are those products just on the horizon that are blowing up, suddenly getting big sales. They're crunching loads of data, so they're seeing what is really, you know, the next big thing. Okay, and plus their concepts with Amazon mean you can save a fortune on Amazon fees. Obviously, Amazon take a commission on things that are sold, and you can get a discount or cash back on those fees as well. Plus, for the first 10 that get signed up, you can also get a one-to-one with the guys as well. So this is a really fantastic offer. I can see orders coming in already. So those first 10 that are going to get the extra one-to-one session, they're going to go really, really quickly. Kia, I can see your orders just popped up in front of me. Well done. You are in. You've got a place. So, folks, let me have your questions in the chat, and I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A with the guys. So Muscan says, sorry, what to sell? So basically, the guys are going to help you at the start of this course. They're going to teach you and show you how to find, you know, products to sell. But I don't know, Samir, do you want to jump in on that and talk a little bit more about kind of finding good things to sell?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the key things we can do is analyze the market and understand what the trends are. But I think it's really fundamental to understand which of the strategies suits you. What suits your lifestyle? Do you want to go for, you know, are you looking for a zero capital startup, or do you have some capital? And if you do, sort of like how much? And that will help us give an indication as to which of the categories is probably best suited for you. So we'll kind of work with you to understand which of those is the best ones to lean into.
Fantastic. Thank you. So another one just popped in there, Joel. Got your order. You are in too. Fantastic. Cool. So another question, she's from Nikki's. Can you really teach me how to get my products onto the top of Amazon listings? Can you talk a bit more about the sort of optimization of listing stuff?
Yeah, there's quite a few parts to this. And so Al covered part of that in sort of like the optimization. So if you like the SEOing of the listing, that's really critical, getting the imagery and everything right. So it's this all comes back to that fundamental point, which is understanding what the customer's looking for. So we kind of really look at how you can understand what the customer's looking for. There's a lot of data that tells you what's working. We can see what's working for the existing sellers, and we can get good ideas as to what they're selling, how much they're selling, which products they're selling, and we sort of like how to analyze what is it within there that's influencing them. And then it's very much about getting your listing. You have to be just one step ahead, one step better than the competitors in terms of the key selling points. And then it's about getting visibility. So that's where advertising kicks in if you want to accelerate it, or you can do it organically. But again, using advertising strategically to start to build you up. And you say you want to get to the top of search results. The key thing here comes down to, right, okay, so which searches? It's understanding which searches to start with. And this then is a methodology that we employ regularly. It's like, okay, building up. So it's taking steps up over time. So we run through all of that. A big mistake, so a lot of people go for is the wrong search term, the one they think is the right one, and go for it full force in one go. And that's generally that will put you on a plan that doesn't work. That's where a lot of people fail. So it's really understanding a strategy that gets you to the point that you want. And we spend a lot of time looking at how to do that. It's very clear.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Cool. We got a question from Margaret. Margaret says she's got an existing product. Can you help her sell an existing product? If you've already got a business, maybe, I don't know if she's making something or she's importing something, but she's got a product anyway. So can you help someone with an existing product to market that product on Amazon?
Absolutely, and we do that day to day. You know, there's probably a 50-50 split in the brands. People that come to us, some have already got a brand or a product that they've got in mind, are already selling a product, and the others are looking for one. So either way, yes. And what we can do is really give you an understanding of your product on Amazon and how to play to its strengths. 100%.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. Louise says, Amazon doesn't have a big footprint in South Africa. How would I get around that? I guess one point here is that, do you need to be sat in the same country where you're promoting goods on Amazon?
Al's currently selling in the UK and he's sitting in Hungary. I'm currently selling in the US and I'm sat in the UK. It really doesn't matter. So it's really about working through and understanding what's important within your supply chain to make sure it works for you. This isn't about working harder. It's really about leveraging all the systems and processes that exist to work for you, so you can run this as light touch as possible from anywhere in the world. Look, genuinely, pre-pandemic, I would spend 3 months of the year overseas, and not in the UK. And I have been pretty much nailed into the UK since it started. But that isn't the way I choose to live my life. Every summer for the 7 years before pandemic, spent 2 months with the entire family in Italy. That's where we just hire a place in Italy, sit by the pool for 2 months, and I'd run the business from there. So it really doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah, I think that's a key point, and really that's true of any internet business, right? It's just like the point of an internet business is you need to be connected to the internet to do the business, but the buyers could be sat anywhere in the world, and the product that you're selling could be anywhere in the world. That's the wonderful thing the internet's given us. I was chatting to another student of ours yesterday who's got a thriving business. He's just about to collect 37 grand for the month, and he's currently sat in the Canary Islands, and he's been there for 6 months. And yet he's selling stuff to people back in the UK and, picking up tens of thousands a month for doing that while he's on the beach enjoying himself. So that's the beauty of this kind of business, that, you can start it with just an internet connection. You could be anywhere in the world. Your customers can be anywhere else in the world. The products could be anywhere in the world. The fact that we are one big global marketplace now means that all hangs together. Fantastic. Okay, any more questions, please type them into the chat box. Joelle says she signed up, looking forward to it. Great, good stuff. Good. I've got a question from Alison asking if there's any way that she can do the course by an installment plan. If there's anyone else that wants to, that would do the program, if they could do it on some sort of 3 monthly pay plan, something like that, put installment in the chat box, and what I'll do is I'll see if I can quickly make an installment link option for you, and I'll send it to you directly. But I'm only going to do that if there's enough of you that's going to make a difference for. So put installment in the chat box if you would be willing to do this, if you could spread the payments over the first 3 months, say. So let me know in the chat box if that's you. And I will see if we can do that for you. Cool. A question from Jonathan. Can you tell me a bit more about the software again, please? Can you just give us a little overview of the sort of software that you've created here, Zamir, and tell us what that's going to do for us?
Yeah, sure. So you've got a view of the review software that sits there. That's one of the key points for looking at reviews. That's very much qualitative data, and it's quite challenging to look at. So that tool's really useful for looking at large bits of qualitative data. The quantitative analysis, where you've got numbers, I guess that's generally a lot easier to look on graphs and bar charts and things, but it's really understanding the metrics that matter. So we've got a business software solution that you get access to. It shows you your sales. It shows you sort of like your costs and what your margin is, how much money you're making. And it delves into where your audience is coming from. So it kind of links up. So if you're doing advertising, or look at the categories or the search terms that are really benefiting you. And it shows you the impact, if you are doing any advertising, has not on simply your advertising sales, but, and then this is the bit that's really quite challenging and tricky to get. It shows you the organic benefit you get from it as well, so that you're able then to quantify on that. The other areas that we will lean into, and it depends on the category that you choose to go into. You may have a product that you sell one-off, but you may have something that people can buy multiple times and subscribe into. And again, software allows you to see repeat orders, to see loyal customers. It's all the tips and tricks that really give you that growth that you're looking for, all comes through our software system. So it gives you all the standard views that you would normally see from standard reporting, but then some really critical reports that let you look at your data in a slightly different way. And we take a look at some of the key marketing terms that people would generally focus on and show you how to really measure them. So this software gives you some real insight, not simply about what's happened, but where to go, what to do next, what actions to take.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zamir. Right, a couple of people have asked for the installment link. So I've made the installment link. So China, if you check your chat box, you'll see the link there. I've sent it to you privately, directly. Graham, I've just sent it to you as well. And it was the other one. John, just sent you that link as well. If anybody else wants an installment plan option, just please put the word installment in the chat box and I'll send you a private link to do that, to spread it over 3 months, because we're feeling nice today. The sun is shining. Genevieve, okay, I can see you've just asked for that as well. So let me send that over to you, Genevieve. That's there. That link's only going to be valid like for the next hour though, guys, because we've just done this especially as an extra special. Okay, so don't leave it. If I've given you the link, go use it right now. Okay, so look, let's look at this in context. For 695 quid, you're getting trained in a business that these guys have generated 45 million quid from. You're getting all of that knowledge and expertise. You're getting software. You're getting 3 months support. If you're quick, you'll just about still get a one-to-one as well. Like, compare that with what else could you do? You could go and buy a franchise that might cost you 10 grand, 15 grand, 20 grand, right? And many franchises really are a business model that will help you make 20, 50 grand a year, 100 grand a year if you're lucky. I know when I left my corporate job at BT, I looked at a few franchises. I looked at one which was a music school, and it was £15,000 to buy the franchise. And if my music school went well and I filled up all the classes, I could have expected to make £28,000 a year from that, right? So not stunning return on investment, is it? If you look at this, the guy's guarantee is that if you follow the system and do what they tell you to do, they get offering you a 20x return on investment, right? 20 times return on investment, or your money back. So you've got nothing to lose and literally everything to gain. So don't miss this opportunity. This program is definitely going to be going up. We're just looking for a couple of batches of people to put through as our kind of first champions, because we want the success stories to scale this up. But you know, I'm sure you've been on many of these webinars. You'll know that the market rate for these sort of courses is normally about £2,000. You know, I've been a speaker for many years. I've seen all sorts of people do teaching. In fact, I've seen many people do teaching on Amazon stuff, offering courses for £2,000, £2,500, £3,000. And to be brutally honest, the people offering those courses have got nothing like the track record of these guys, right? The people offering those courses have maybe built an Amazon business doing a few £1,000s a month, not 45 million quid, not being asked by Amazon to actually be advocates for Amazon and speak at Amazon events, not being so damn good at it themselves that they've coached and grown other brands to massive scale like these guys have done as well. So this really is a ground floor opportunity, and it's a zero risk opportunity, money back guarantee. So it's just 695. So I'd urge you not to miss the opportunity and to jump on board while you can. I can see we've got another one just come in. Here's this. Michael, got your order. Fantastic. Thank you very much. You are in. So you have secured the one-to-one as well. Looks like we've just got about 2 of those one-to-one places left. So if you want to get on board quickly, because there is only going to be a couple more of those spaces left with the one-to-one with the guys as well. So those extra bonuses for the first 10 are almost all out. So go quickly. And those of you that got the installment plan link, please use that link right now, because that's not going to last. Okay. Cool. Let me just see if there is any more questions that we can go through. Billy's got a question. Can we sell brands from other countries if we are based in a different country? I think we kind of covered that off already, Zamir, but
yeah.
Yeah. So basically the answer is yes.
Businesses do that all the time, don't they? So
yeah, absolutely. You know, most of the things that you buy on Amazon could be coming from, you know, different parts of the world, and they could be sold by people in different parts of the world.
Absolutely.
I had a question actually about fees. So can you just talk in sort of loose terms about what are the Amazon fees? So is there like a monthly fee to Amazon to have a store If there is, how much is it? And then what sort of cut might Amazon take when you sell something through them?
Yeah, Amazon do a free version. We generally recommend going for the professional one, which is £29 a month. And in terms of the other fees, the only other fees that they charge are really on the commission. So they take, and it does depend which category you're in. Most categories sit at 15%. There are some that are lower than that, and there are one or two that are slightly higher on it. But the vast majority of categories sit at 15%. We sort of run through those. The only other fees then that come through are the normal ones you would expect with running an online business, so fulfillment fees, cost of pick, pack and post and stuff like that. But Amazon's its commission fee is generally sits around 15% for £29 a month for the professional version.
Fantastic, thank you. Hazel's just asked for the install plan. I've just sent that to you, Hazel, and Jeremy asked for it as well. I've just sent that to you, Jeremy. So make sure you follow that link, guys. All those of you that have asked for that link, make sure that you are using it right now. That's not going to be there very long. Okay, so $29.95 a month. Pretty cheap business to start, right? What's that? A cup of coffee or two a week, and then any other fees are just a commission on what you've sold. So there's nothing else to pay unless you've sold something. And pretty small commission to pay, given that Amazon have provided you the customer and the place to sell it from. I mean, any of you that have done my internet marketing 3-day course, you know, we based it around a 3-step model, which is you need something to sell, you need somewhere to sell from, and someone to sell to. They're the 3 things you need to have an online business. And really, in this model, what Amazon is doing is providing step 2 and step 3 for you. They're providing the platform to sell from, and they're providing the audience to sell to. So all you've got to worry about is step 1, which is the product. And here are some guys that are going to show you how to find in-demand products. They're even going to give you a list every quarter of the stuff that they've researched and found is the in-demand stuff. They're going to tell you where to get things from. If you want to get something made or branded, the best way to do it, leveraging all their experience and track record of doing this. I think it's an amazing offer for $6.95. It's definitely not going to be this price very long. So you've got the links there in the chat box. Please make sure you use them. I think we've covered off all the questions. Any closing thoughts from Zamir and Ali that you want to just finish off with before we wrap this up?
Sure. I was just thinking, just the fact I saw there was that last question that popped up. I thought it would be worth answering. It was the one about sourcing from countries other than China. That you can source from anywhere in the world. I was just going to put out. Yeah, I mean, Al and me both source from many countries. I do some in China, quite a significant chunk from the consumer electronics side. But and I'll tell you, a lot of his stuff, Sri Lanka, Vietnam. We work with brands a lot who are sourcing in the UK and Europe as well. So yeah, anyway. And just to qualify that, our sourcing partners have access to multiple countries, not just China. So.
Fantastic. Any closing thoughts, Ali?
Yeah, my thought would be, we're all Amazon customers, and the next time you jump on Amazon, just think what you just bought. There could have been you selling it, and you could have made the money on it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty much on there every day. In fact, I've bought something this morning. I'm off to Spain next week for a songwriting retreat. And I thought, it'd be good if we had one of those little like travel size projectors. I'll take one of those in the bag, and then we can maybe have a movie night on the down night when we're in Spain. So I picked up one of those on Amazon this morning, and I also bought. It might have been enough use to me. I don't know. It was a Bluetooth receiver, because I thought, last time we were in Spain, the teacher was on stage and had a laptop with like a mini jack lead, and every time they turn around and put their laptop on their lap, they yanked the thing out of the mixing desk fell off the stage. I thought, why don't I just get one of those little Bluetooth receivers, plug that in the mixing desk, and then the speaker can be wire free and hasn't got that drama. So it's just like 2 little impulse purchases on Amazon, but that was 500 quid for the 2 things. And someone's made a couple of £100 out of me this morning, and that could have been one of you on this webinar if you'd started an Amazon business. So we're going to wrap up there, folks. If you've got any more questions, please put your questions in the chat. We'll leave the webinar up just for another minute or two, just to answer direct in the chat any other questions that you might have. Thanks for your time and attention. You've got the links there. Please go to those links and follow them now that the installment one we're certainly going to take down very, very shortly. And yeah, thanks for your attention. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Zamir, for coming along today. And we will catch you all next time on our next webinar.
Thanks, Tim.
Bye.
Take care.
Thanks, Simon. Thanks, Ali. Thanks, Samir. That was fantastic. Bye-bye.